Hello, my friends. Hello, my life warriors, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the Day In, Day Out podcast. Woo! Today on episode 348, I am very lucky, privileged to have, wow, a, a brother in arms, a friend, JP on the podcast today. I've worked with this guy for quite a couple of years, but we're not talking about our workplace, EMAP. Let's not go there. But we're talking about his film production company, White Ermine Films, where he is director, producer, like a man of many talents, let's just say. He is far too modest to brag about it. But, JP, how are you today?
What an intro. I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm all good. I'm all good. Here
I have to
in
say 348. I didn't know. That's a lot, man. Well done.
Oh yeah, like this is the thing. It like things have been slow this year. It's just energy levels have not been where I would like to do a podcast. It's just like okay, and it just time has been against me. But like this is the whole
Right.
thing. We are going to get to 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, and beyond. With when it
And
gets to the
beyond. I
podcast.
like the beyond.
Oh
Good.
yes, yeah.
It's
Now
all
you
about
know.
ambition.
Oh, well, like you know what? If we don't have a little bit of ambition in this world, my friend, we will never go out there and do anything what we'll call worthwhile, great, or like yeah,
Fair
who
enough.
knows?
Fair
You
enough.
know?
Agreed.
Yeah. But like this is the thing. Like how I know you, as I mentioned, is through EMAP many moons ago. Yeah, working together side by side. You doing energy and like architectural like events, and me like doing yes heat and ventilation and all things. How can I say building services? But
Mhm.
you have been doing your film thing like as a side, like on the side. What
Yeah.
got you into this?
I always say that I am a storyteller. So that's how it started. Since I'm a kid, I always wanted to tell stories. I think I wrote my first. I've done many paths, many kind of roles. But if I look a bit further, or like look at the big picture, all of what I've done, it's always about telling stories. But I think the first time was probably 10 years old when I started to write my own. I don't know if you know the comics, oh, no, sorry, the Japanese comics, Dragon Ball.
Oh
But
yeah.
I wrote my own story of Dragon Ball. I was trying to imagine, but where is Son Goku come from and what happened then? And then later on, there were some movies about that. But so that's how it started. And then for a very, very long time, it was just that me, my hobby, loving telling stories. And in 2010, I think, I met someone. Her name was Julie. And she, a bit like at EMAP, she was working for a company I was working for, but
Yeah.
like EMAP, a full time job, but yet a creative side that was existing on the side. And she kind of pushed me to read one of the stuff I was writing. And I was really like, oh yeah, but that's not meant for that. It's just for me. I don't want people to see it. That was my idea back then. But then she really pushed for it. It took a month before I agreed for her to read one of my stuff. And she loved it. And from that moment, I started to think, or she maybe pushed me, but she was really like, you need to do something about that. It's just not something you keep on the side forever. And that's how it started, really. After that, I did some plays. I wrote some plays. I even took some courses to be an actor. Just I wanted to see what it is on that side. Wasn't for me. I directed plays. It was okay, but it was not for me. And then I realized that all of these things was always down to one thing. I want to tell stories. I
Mm.
might not have the skills to be behind a camera. I might not have the skills to be in front of the camera. I might not even have the skills to write a story the way it should be. But the idea and leading that project to the end, that was the exciting part for me. The process of telling a story. And so I can't remember the year now, but at some point I created White Ermine Films with the purpose of creating women-centric stories. That was my thing. I wanted all of my stories were most of the time around a main character being a woman. And then when I created White Ermine Films, That's what I wanted to do. Only woman-centric stories. But yeah, long answer. Apologize. That's who I am. But a storyteller. That's what I am
Oh,
to start
oh
with.
man. No, because like this is the thing. Like, okay, like from being a 10-year-old doing like stories where you're like basically doing comic book manga stories from like
Manga
Dragon
as
Ball
well.
Z, yeah, and then sort of like like by chance meeting someone who also is a creative, and making them encourage, like they encouraged you to like, yeah, pursue this
Yeah.
art form yourself, to like, yeah, bounce from here to there, like, oh, am I meant to be in front of the camera, am I meant to be behind the camera, and like you settling on like going, it's not for me, now it's all behind the camera. It's a long old journey, and like it's
It
one of
is.
those things
Yeah.
where you like go, okay, the confidence to like building that confidence to like go from storytelling to basically getting people together, and then like, yeah, getting that project launched. Like,
Mm.
what was like Forever 27 is not your first project, is it,
No.
or
No.
no? But when you did your first project, what was that like? What was the sort of the like, what would you say was your biggest moment or challenge you had then?
So actually, it's linked to EMAP. But the biggest challenge for me, all of that time, what she did was opening my eyes on, wait, there is more here.
Mm,
And for a long time, for me, was kind of refusing, maybe not intentionally, but refusing my creative side. I was just not embracing it. And I was always trying to find jobs where it was, I needed to be a bit creative. Like, I know sales is not creative for everyone, but I'm in sales still today, and that's my full-time job. And sales, the way I do it is very creative, so that's what I love about sales. But anyway, what she did by opening my eyes is thinking, how can I not acknowledge the fact that creativity is part of my life? I need
mm,
to do something about it. So moving forward, um, when I did this course to become an actor, um, I was watching these people um, play, act. And as I was doing that, we were supposed to do a show at the end of the year. It was supposed to be like a play, and everybody was supposed to come up with one play. We had to choose, each one of us had to choose a play, and she gave us like a list of plays to pick up from. But watching them doing this, I started to have an idea for a play, and I wrote it. And then I approached my teacher and I said to her, is it possible to do one of our stuff? And she was like, sure, I've never had that before, but why not? And then I showed her what I wrote, and she was like, okay, let's do that. And then what happened is the following week, during the class, she said, I know it started before the film project, but you will see the link. She said, oh, I've got a play I wanted to do. Do you mind just doing it right now? I'm giving you the text, the dialogues, and you do it? And people were like, oh, yeah, sure. And they started to do this play, and they were like exciting. They were doing it. And I was sitting there watching them thinking, well, that's so cool. They're saying my words, they're acting my writing. And then at the end, she says, oh, by the way, the play is from someone in the class. And they were like, who? It's Jean-Philippe, it's JP. And they were like, oh my God, really? And all of that excitement started to really be, wait a minute, I don't know what that feeling, how it made me feel was, well, that's amazing. I want to feel like this every single day on a work-based situation. And then the final show happened when we were like in front of a public with everyone. And I
mm,
asked her, do you mind if I go sit down in the public when they do my part, my show, my play? And she was like, yeah, sure, because I was supposed to act as well. So I did some stuff where I was acting and stuff. But then I said, for the last part of the show, which was my play, can I just sit down? So I had a seat with her, and I sit there. And then they did my play. Obviously, I've seen it in rehearsal and all of that, but still seeing it live on stage was a different feeling. But more importantly, having all of the public around me laughing when I planned for them to laugh. When I wrote, I was like, this is where they're going to laugh. This is a funny part. So they were laughing exactly what I thought they would be. They were reacting, the drama, all of the emotions I planned, they were having it at the right time. And I remember thinking, that's better than sex. But truly, it's my thinking was the feeling is just
I'll let you
amazing.
know.
Um, so yeah, from that I started to develop more and more. But that was a key moment. If you were talking about key moment, the key moment where I thought, I love how it makes me feel to have my thing on stage played by actors. And then obviously plays are very expensive to do and all of that. So I kind of move on from that. But deep down, I knew films. I watch films all the time. I love movies. Theater was a way to do it easy. It's easier to set up a play than make a movie. So I was thinking of making movies, but I didn't know where to start. I didn't know anyone. And here's a sad part, by the way. I apologize for that. But my mom passed away from cancer at the day of my birthday. So in 2019. So I was 2019. Sorry, how old I was? 18 and 19, 27. So at 27 years old, I realized, a bit stupid, I guess, but oh my God, life is too short. Because I was still doing it, but slowly. So I thought, I need to do this. I need to do this right now. And then my idea was to do videos. So I started to film myself, explaining to people, I'm going to make a movie. So I was
Mm,
doing these short videos. It was kind of the trend at the moment, a bit less now, but where I was sitting in front of a camera and explaining what I do every week in order to make that movie. And I called it 1 year to make a movie because I give myself 1 year to do it. And that was right during COVID. And then EMAP, that's why I go back to EMAP, they made me furlough. So for 6 months, they gave me money
mm,
without the need to work. And that's when it happened. So the challenge was the money. Suddenly, I was still paid to be able to work on my film project. So I went all the way. I did these videos, and then I found the team. I built up the team, and I found the money, which was my own personal money, a bit of a loan there and there, some help from friends. But my first movie was called Beef, and we filmed right during the pandemic, right during all of the restrictions. I remember the mask and everything. It was very complicated. Um, but that was a moment for me. There was no better moment. And COVID was a bad thing for many people, but for me, it was a blessing. Because thanks to that, thanks to the pandemic, thanks to the furloughs, I managed to do my dream. And
mm.
then as I was doing Beef, which was an idea that I had, when I built up my team, it hit me. And that's what we're going to talk about. But it hit me that, wait, I've got another project, something I've been thinking for 15 years. That is so much better than this story. That is what should be big time movie. So Beef for me was a way to say, look, I can do it. See, I can make a movie. I can be a film producer. I did it with a low budget, but the movie is okay. It's really good. But that's what I can do. So let's let's make more so I can do a feature film because the end goal right now is I want to make a feature film. That's what I want to do.
Ah, I hear you. Like this is the thing. I think with many people in this world of ours, like because they are so busy and they keep on having to go, 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 and like what the pandemic did for a number of people, like yeah, be it a bad time for some people,
Yeah,
good time for others like yourself. But I think it gave everyone the moment to stop and breathe. And with that stopping, that breathing, it helped give them that moment to assess where they are in that moment in life. And I think if people could like do that, like not every year, but say once every 5 years, like go, wait, let me stop, let me breathe. If they like,
mm,
if they have a little bit of cash and go, okay, I'm in the wrong place. Let me go in this
yeah,
direction. I think they might find that thing which would truly push them or truly inspire them to
absolutely.
like get on and do great things. Because like this is the thing, you had no idea what you were doing when you did beef. It was, but you managed to get people together in a very challenging, well, in a very challenging time
Mm,
because like I've spoken to people over in the States who did TV and film production, and they had so many restrictions and like they had to
yeah,
do
yeah, it was
yeah,
complicated. Yeah,
yeah. So it's like yeah, to get that out there, like to like and make that happen, and you like going okay, right, I've got something better, and just to make that grow and grow and grow. What would you say like with after beef? this thing which was sitting with you. You said 14 years, right?
Yeah, I can't remember. I think 2008 is when I started to think about that. I was a film idea. Yes.
Yeah. So what was the film idea? Is it like Forever 27? Was that the film
Mhm.
what came to mind?
So
Like,
yeah, so Forever 27 start with a very simple thing. Thought. 2008, I said because I can't remember exactly. So I apologize if it's not the date, but it's
yeah,
about Amy Winehouse.
yes.
I
That's what
was a
came to
big
mind.
fan of Amy
Um,
Winehouse, like many people, and when I saw before the death, when I saw the path she was on, when I saw this road going, down the road, and then you will see from time to time images from her or videos where she's like in a bad state, and you can tell she's doing drugs, and the whole world around her is spiraling. And I thought to myself many times, how much I would want to be in a room with her, away from the pressure of the music industry, away from potentially the pressure of her own entourage and friends and family. I don't know, but just take her away from that and just refocus on music.
mm,
That's and I know it's naive and a bit ridiculous because obviously there was much more than this going on. She had some mental health issues maybe, or she has some problems, whatever it is. It's not as simple. But the idea of doing this was the beginning of the idea of the movie. And then from that, obviously, when she passed away at 27 years old, she joined the 27 Club. So
yes.
all of these artists, Jim Morrison, Kurt Cobain, well,
Hendrix, I believe.
Jimi Hendrix, thank you, Janis Joplin, all of these artists who died at age 27. So the 27 Club is kind of an appellation, a term for this young artist who die at age 27. And there is one part of this club that is about conspiracy and curse and all of that, which I'm not interested in. The part that I was interested in is how do you, at 27 years old, um, decide to commit suicide or destroy your life when you, on the paper, you have everything. You have
Mm,
the fame, you have the money. Why is it so tough? And that's the part I'm interested in. And that's the part Forever 27 is focusing on. So it's a story of Amy Winehouse like British singer who is 27, who's struggling with alcohol and drugs addiction and mental health issues. There is a lot of background of why she's where she is, but she was or still is a huge star. But obviously, the rumors is she's going to go down that road of joining the 27 Club. She seems to be on the way. And an event, which are, without revealing too much, will really hit her and wake her up and change her whole world. And the whole movie is about two things. One, is she going to join the club or is she going to manage to get out of it? And two, it's a bit of a blue pass for what to do when you have addiction or how to fight addiction. So it's kind of the two of them together. But the biggest thing is rights. It's complicated, but it's an homage to all of these artists at the same time of talking addiction. So the plan is to have all of their music, Amy Winehouse music, Jimi Hendrix music, Jim Morrison, all of that. So that's a bit of a complex territory. There's a lot of rights and stuff that needs to be sorted out. I've got a team with me who works on that as we speak, and there's a lot of stuff that I might have to do some compromise
mm,
because of how it is, and especially if money, no money. But the whole idea is called Forever 27 because will she? Her name is Luna, the character. Is she going to become Forever 27 or will she become 28? And that's what the movie is about. And it's really interesting because it's kind of um, uh, trendy is not the word. It's kind of on the dot in terms of what's happening because in recent moments / months years you got Matthew Perry and you got Liam Payne, which are two interesting characters because one being a singer of One Direction, probably one of the biggest boys band ever in history of music, and one being probably one of the biggest TV show ever, you should assume that they're happy. They got money, they got fame, and Matthew Perry and Liam Payne um, struggled, struggled so much. And I remember watching an interview from Matthew Perry who was saying, I had the house, had the dream house, had the
Mm.
money, and then he hit me. But that's not fixing my problem. I thought he was going to fix my problem, but it doesn't. My problem is not about that, and it's not fixing anything at all. And obviously, we don't know what happened with Liam Payne exactly, but um, regardless of his death, he's been vocal about his problems, his struggles with mental health, with the fact that obviously you're same with Michael Jackson. You become a huge star at such a young age. There is a lot of repercussion and impact. Anyway, so I'm kind of going all directions, but that's the idea here that the movie is following all of these stories, what it means to be a star under the spotlight, and the music industry and the pressure and the entourage of, especially the entourage, because I know that drugs that get in via the people who surround you, and sometimes they're not good for you, but they're there around you. So anyway, so that's what Forever 27 is about.
Yeah, no, like this is the thing with like with everything you said there, with like the whole regards to mental health and like yeah, the pressures people face, especially when they are in the spotlight. I think with regards to Winehouse, the most interesting time to most already speak to her is like yeah, the few days before she went like exploded into superstardom, like just to see who she was then because that
Mm.
type of vibe, that type of attention, it's like a tidal wave, which you can like surf it for a while. If you don't pay attention, it's very easy to get wiped off your board and like get hit by some debris and get taken down. And I think that's what a lot of people who are in that 27 club have happened because they were so focused in getting that dream succeeding. And like, yeah, they succeeded on a level where they would have most probably been happier if they went to a small club and like, yeah, 100 people were like, I really love your music, like you're great and everything like this, and like they would have
Mm.
lived a happy life. But when all of a sudden you've got the world all of like going, you are amazing, you are great, and like
Yeah,
basically like the guy from One Direction who was in the biggest band in the world, Matthew Perry, who was like, yeah, in a TV show so huge and colossal, it still like it still was like making all of them multi-millionaires.
yeah.
Yeah. Uh,
And still
it,
today, I bet like any of the Friends cast, for example, even Jennifer Aniston, who's huge, who's done so many things ever since. I bet she's still hearing people talking about it. She's still having people talking to her about this, not necessarily media, but also normal people in the street or whatever. That's the kind of level of fame that you're getting. It's how do you manage that? You know, it's I don't know. I've never been in a situation, so but
yeah,
it must be wow, super tricky.
yeah. Like this is the thing. Everyone sees um Jim Carrey has a quote, and I'm going to paraphrase it.
Yeah,
It's like because I can't remember exactly. He goes, "I wish everyone could achieve the goals
yeah,
and
I know that
dreams
one.
that and like the money and wealth they can have in this world to realize that is not the important thing." And I think the
Mm.
realization that is not the important thing, I think not enough people understand that. We get caught up with every like the bright shining light of yes, you've got to be wealthy, you've got to be famous, you've got to be all of these things when success or living a good or a great life might be a completely and utterly different, to what the quote unquote normal standard is. Uh, what that could be to anyone, that could be, yeah, raising a family. That could just be like going, like walking, across the land, just meeting people. As a myriad of things.
Yeah,
It's, mm,
and the thing is, it's always the same. Like I love that metaphor you did before, that tidal wave of fame and money and all of that hitting you. Um, I think you're either prepared for it or you're not, but it's more than that. It's like psychologically, because there are people who are not affected. I mean, I'm sure they are in a certain way, but they are less affected by it than others. There are
Mm,
people who manage fame better. Let's be honest. These big names that we hear, and you see them every day, and they seem normal. I'm sure they have some issues, but they don't seem as bad as others. The issues, and I think it's what you're equipped with to start. Sorry,
mm.
what you're equipped to start with. And I remember, I don't like this person at all. I'm just using him as an example. But Russell Brand,
Oh yes.
I saw him saying something about Amy Winehouse. If we're going back on that topic,
Yeah.
he met her in a club before she was huge, before she was famous, and he saw it. He saw the struggles, the issues. He saw that, wow, she has a demon, because he has it as well, so he knows.
Mm,
And she saw that. He saw that before she was famous. So obviously, if you don't have that strength, I don't really like the word, but I can't find a better one. So the strength, if you don't have it when the tidal wave come in, then yeah, the consequences can be dear.
mm. It's a like this is the thing, as you say, if you don't have that strength, it's a bit of a combination. You've got to have the strength and fortitude to like fence things off, like the slings and arrows which come in, but you've also got to have the flexibility of a reed at the same time, so you don't break. It's hard and challenging, and like there's been a number of people like who've like got stardom recently, and they've been like angry at some of their fans for being like so intrusive into their lives, and
Hmm.
like, basically like, oh yeah, I've been getting death threats and this and that, and I go like, there's part of me which is like, I understand that no one ever deserves to have that happening on the regular basis. I It would drive me crazy, make me angry, it would make me mad, won't lie about it. But here's the thing, that unfortunately is the positives you get with that. That is the negative which comes with it. And it's
Hmm.
not, and I'll go, yeah, there's part of me which goes, don't be naive about it. If you want
Yeah,
this, you know it's going to come with the negative. So if the upside is the upside, but the downside is the downside, and you've got to learn how to work around that downside. Like, be that meditation or exercises you can do personally, or having a good crew of people around you to help you get through those hard times. And
yeah,
I think that's where a number of people sort of suffer, and that's where I think the greatest challenge comes into it, like
yeah,
because like, you're doing this, like getting this like Forever 27 out there, and you mentioned you've got like, you want to get like, put bring like the different music from all of those people who are in that club, and like you want to bring like a number of people together. Like, how many people do you have with you now, or is it just you at this present time, uh like forging on?
so so 527 is a bit of a journey. So while I was doing Beef,
Mm,
just for comparison, Beef was 20 people, I think,
yeah.
maybe 18 or 19 people. And then while I was doing Beef, especially when it started to be on set, as I said, I'm the kind of producer who takes a step back. So while he was on set, I was thinking, okay, I'm excited now. I've done that movie, it's going to be done soon. I want to focus on my next project. And that's why I thought again about Forever 27, because Forever 27 has been an ongoing going back and forth at it. Like I was leaving it for 6 months, a year, and then I was going back at it, the script and
Mm,
all of that, the idea, and developing it as I go. So when Beef was there, I was thinking, okay, now I need to focus on Forever 27. But my point was, when I was trying to approach people, they were a bit like, we don't know you. Who are
mm,
you? What have you done, especially? And the reason I did Beef was, for Beef, to find a director and producer, a director and writer, sorry, I was really struggling as well, because they were like, who are you? You have done nothing at all. And that's
mm,
why I started to make this 1 year to make a movie videos, because Then I will say, oh, by the way, that's me. And I was sending them the videos. And they were like, oh, that's so cool what you're doing, these videos and trying to explain what you're going at. And they were getting excited. And then they will accept or agree to meet me. So that's how Beef started to develop. I managed to build up a team thanks to that. So when I started to look at Forever 27, I was starting with the same challenge, the same wall. So I thought, okay, I can't do this again. I can't do these videos again because that wouldn't be enough now. It's supposed to be a feature film. How am I going to make a feature film with just one short film in the bag? It's not
Mm.
enough. So I thought I'm going to do a proof of concept. So I found out that Whiplash, you know the movie Whiplash with uh, J.K. Simmons. I
Jake
can't remember the guy who
Gyllenhaal.
plays. What's his name?
Jake Gyllenhaal?
No,
No.
it's
Uh,
Miles something.
okay. Yeah, I know. J.K. Simmons is
And
the.
J.K. Simmons. Anyway, everybody
Yeah,
remembers J.K.
yeah,
Simmons. Is
yeah.
like Anyway, his director's name, I forgot his name as well. I'm very, very bad with name. Anyway, he did a proof of concept. So he did a short film, a short scene of, I think, 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And he used that to show investors and producers, studios, this is what the movie could be about. And he managed to get J.K. Simmons into that 5 minutes short film. So I don't know how he managed to do that. But anyway, so he used that proof of concept to say, this is what it could look like. If you give us the money, we're going to make an hour or 2 hours movie about it.
Oh,
And I
sorry to
found that
interrupt. Miles Teller.
that's the one. Miles Teller is the one playing the battery.
Yeah.
Yes. And the director, as you had it, is it? I know he's got a French name.
Where is the director? You know what? I cannot find the director's name.
I think he's Canadian.
Uh,
Chazelle? Is it Chazelle? Oh,
Demi Chazelle.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I think he's Canadian.
Yeah.
Um, so anyway, and then after that, he went on to be in a film festival. I think it was Sundance. So anyway, he managed to go all up. So I thought it was so cool. I was like, oh my god, that's what I need to do. So I decided to make a second short film of
Hmm.
Forever 27, the first scene of the feature film. So when people watch it, it's live now. It's online. I'm going to tell you after, but it's online now. But when people watch it, they're like, "Oh, but it's finishing a bit like there is no hand," and I'm like, "That's on purpose. It's supposed to give you the need or the envy, not the envy, but the that you want more, and
Mm.
that's what you want to see more." Anyway, so to answer your question, for Forever 27 second short film, again, in comparison, Beef was 19 people. I had 40 people working on that. So much bigger project. And the budget was £15,000. So big, big budget as well for a short film of, I don't know, I think it's 15 minutes, 16 minutes.
Yeah.
When I started to have that, I started to contact people to help me getting further. So these people who have kind of participated in that short film, I'm still in contact with them. We're still progressing towards a feature film. So right now, I have the writer who I'm still in contact with because with her, I'm developing the feature film script. The director said, maybe not for me. I've loved doing the short film, but I'm working on my own stuff now. So if you want to find someone else, so I do need to find another director for the feature
Mm.
film. But I do have two music rights specialists, a lawyer, and two guys who are they're film producers themselves. So they won't be involved in that project, but they're kind of advising me. They're advisors. They're helping me with the production budget, cost, and that's done now. But that's kind of what it is. So it's me, to answer your question, with people helping me along the way. But they're not really involved. They're more like advisor. Some of them I'm paying when I need
Yeah.
their services, that kind of things. But it's kind of still me. What I want for my next step is a director, because a director is a key role. Because you're two-person when you launch a movie.
Yeah.
I mean three. You're a director, a producer, and a scriptwriter. But more importantly, the director and the producer work closely. Sometimes they find the scriptwriter, or a producer and scriptwriter work closely so they can find a director. But the director is key. And what I want is a female director. Sorry, a woman director. I don't know what to say. Maybe it's pejorative to say female, but that's a translation from the French word. So I apologize if it is. But I want a woman director. And I have someone in mind because she's an actress, but she's trying to get into directing. I'm not going to say her name because I'm not sure where it's going to go, so I don't want to say something and then it looks ridiculous because I don't have it. But yeah, that's the plan. But right now, the movie is available online. I don't know if you can put some links after that, but it's on a platform called Fossum TV. So it's a free application on mobile phone where you can watch movie for free. And Forever 27, the proof of concept, the 15 minutes movie is on there for free. Free, 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 free. Everything is free.
Yes. Like, I have to ask, like, okay, the
Yeah,
film, the free film, which is out there,
yeah,
is around about 16 minutes long,
yeah,
and 15K. It's like almost a grand a minute. It's like, yeah.
yeah.
So, how much money do you believe you'll have to raise to take it from said concept into feature film reality?
It's interesting because I've got two opinions there.
Oh,
There
you had
is
to clear your throat there. I heard that. It's
no,
like,
no. You have it's really interesting. It's kind of sales approach. There is the cost of the movie, right? I know how much it will cost to make that movie. It's
okay.
about 850K. Okay? But that's the thing. In the movie industry, that's not much. You know, movie costs millions. Of course, I'm not talking about the Marvels. They're like 200 millions and all of that. That's a different kind of story. But even the big movies, the indie movies, independent movies, it's when it's not backed up by a studio. The independent movies, the one who are in the cinema and you can watch and pay tickets to go to see or end up in festival, they are costing a bit more money than that. So the realistic answer is 850K without a bit of promotion. But that's the kind of the thing. If you have a studio attached to a movie, that promotion budget
Yeah.
explodes. But what people are telling me, people in the industry, is like, say it's more. Don't say it's 850K because it sounds cheap. So they are telling me to say it's 2.2, 3 million. So that's where I'm right now, actually. I'm like, okay, so how do I make a budget of 850K looks like 2.2 or 3 million? But the idea is about the image. Um, in comparison, if you go to see an Instagram page about a movie, right, and it's got 200 followers,
Hmm.
you're not going to be impressed. You're going to think, oh, that's probably someone doing it in the back of their garage. But if it's like 10,000 or 20,000 followers, suddenly you'll think it's more serious. So exactly that. That's what people are telling me. If you go to see big investors and say it's 850K, yeah, it sounds good because you're like, well, okay, it's not costing much to make it. But they will think it's made on the cheap side. It's not going to be qualitative. Does it make sense?
Yeah, it does. It does make sense to me. It's like it's one of the things where, for example, Rolls Royce, the car company.
Hmm.
Like, okay, Rolls Royce, they made an interesting choice a decade ago, maybe a little bit longer.
Mm.
They went, okay, they stopped going to car shows. They went, no, no
Okay.
to car shows. And then they just went exclusively to yacht and aircraft shows to put their
Okay.
car
Okay.
because, okay, in comparison to a jet or a yacht, which costs tens of millions of pounds to own one, when you walk past a Rolls Royce, which is now a quarter of £1 million or £500,000, that is it's very reasonable. It's still expensive. Don't get me
Reasonable for
wrong.
who? That's the question. But
Yeah,
yeah.
but when you like go, okay, it triggers a psychological thing where it's like, I'm getting a bargain, having this, but yet they still spent that out. So it's just, I would say, if there's a way of getting you in a room where, like, yeah, everyone's got like, I've got a 15 million, like 20 million film like budget and everything like that, and you like come along, and go, yeah, my film is, and I would say listen to those people and go, yeah, it's like 2 million, like 3 million to do it. It'll be like, oh, that might be a nice little bargain. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could be
But
that.
this is the thing. How did you raise? Like, I have to ask, how did you manage to raise 15 thousand pounds to get the short film like started in the first?
So I did the classic, route of how's that called, this platform? Kickstarter, and I didn't use Kickstarter, but something like Kickstarter. I forgot. Oh, Greenlit is called. Greenlit is kind of this platform where people put money towards a project, but it's dedicated to films.
Hmm.
So I did Greenlit. I managed to get £9,000 from people, including family and friends, obviously. So that was like amazing, and I make a loan for the rest. I hesitated a long time for the loan. A lot of people were telling me, "Oh, don't do a loan because then you're in trouble and stuff." But I'm lucky enough that I have a full-time job that pays well, and I knew that it wouldn't affect my family or my independent financial status to do a loan. So I did it, and it was maybe it was not 9K, maybe it was 8 and 9, or I can't remember exactly. But so yeah, half of it was basically a loan, half of it was from people, roughly.
Yeah, no, wow, that's impressive because like this is the thing. There are so many people out there where they've got a dream or like something like they've got some type of concept and they need to get money for it. But like they find it incredibly hard, nigh on impossible to get anything in. Like for you to get anything like get 8 to 9 grand in from like yeah, you say like friends and family, but a large amount of that would be strangers. Like, you know, like I say rinse and repeat. Like, hey, like see if you can like do it again. Maybe put like maybe get something out on YouTube where like you said about the I'm gonna like a series where you're gonna do a film in a year. Like
Mm,
do another series where like yeah, you might be able to get like out there a little bit more and then basically build a groundswell of people. And if you went back and went, I've got this, let's do it. You'll be amazed at how many people want to support a dream. You'll be like amazed at how many people want to like support someone who's doing something positive or moving the needle in a positive direction, which you are doing. You've been working hard at it. But
mm,
look, this is the thing. It's not easy. Like yeah, like working a 9 to 5, having your family, and then like you know what I mean, making this movie come into being, getting a concept out there. Uh, Trust me,
mm.
if I know anything about like times
Um,
where I look at myself and this lack of energy, hey,
so I totally hear that, but actually, most of the money were coming from people I knew and not
mm,
people who are strangers. And I promised myself I will never do it again,
okay,
because asking people money, people I know, family and friends, yeah, once they were so excited, people were doing it, and I offered some deals with some specific friends who were like, I'd be considering investing in that if I
mm,
get a return. So I know that some friends have, invested some money, and in exchange, they have a percentage of the profit that I'm going to make on that movie. So that's more how I managed to get to that point.
yeah,
I also, for the first movie, for Beef, I used my savings. So it was a much lower budget, but I used my savings. And as we were making the film, I managed to save money. I managed to save money on cut on certain things.
yeah,
Um, and that extra money went against Forever 27, plus the money from the friend, plus the loan, plus extra savings maybe, I can't remember exactly. But anyway, so all in all, we managed to do it. But I wouldn't want to do it again for two reasons. First, I wouldn't want to ask people money again because it sounds like, and I know a lot of people do that. I know a lot of people, go back to their friends and stuff. But everybody in the film industry will tell you it's such a struggle, especially now, and they can't just keep going at it because people think, once they think, oh my God, you're doing something new, that's amazing.
mm,
Twice they think, is this pass? Is it a career? Because you can't. Who ask money every time they're trying to get a job?
mm,
No one does. It's only like creative industry, creative world who does this. That's the first thing. And the second thing is, this is such a big amount of money that I want to convince people who do this for a living, like investors who invest in films. That's what I want to do. And I want people to invest in that. People who do it very often because they have a return on investment. That's more my angle now. So now, saying that, if I manage to raise funds and I'm missing maybe 20K or 30K, then yes, I'll be like, look, guys, I've managed to raise that much, maybe 80%, and I just need 20%. whoever wants to support that. That's a different approach. It shows that there is an interest, and people will be like, "Oh my God, you actually there? You're about to make it? Yeah, of course, I will give you the extra." That's a different approach. But yeah, I wouldn't. I don't know how you feel about that, but that's my
Oh no,
perception now.
no, no. I hear that, and like I understand. I get it, and because like yes, your friends, your family, they're not this like unlimited pool of money, and
Yeah.
that's not the best sort of relationship to have. But like, I do have to ask, like, how are you getting in the room with many of these investors out there? Are you like sort of going to conferences? Like, are you doing like going around films like festivals or anything like that?
That's a really good point, and that's why I wanted to do the podcast, Modia, because I thought, you know what, it's time to wake up here. So, Forever 27 was wrapped up in 2021. Now, from 2019 to 2021, I did these videos, I did these two movies, and there was a point where I had to be realistic about the impact it had on my family, and I
Mm,
couldn't carry on like that. So, in all honesty, I took a break from it. I took a break from social media. I took a break from this creative side, and I focused on my family, the two kids, especially in 2021. The second one was coming. So, you
okay.
will see, but the second one is a step up if you're planning to have one. But it is.
No,
and, and, and suddenly, yeah, it was not making sense anymore. Now, the reason I recently started to be into it again. So yeah, and also, sorry, back then I did try to approach people, and the feedback I had was like, the project is not ready, the script is not ready, this is not ready, blah blah blah. So anyway, so the reason I went back into it is because early this year or end of last year, I entered 427 into film festival where you could have the movie in a database for investors to look at. And someone approached me, a distributor in the US. They said, I love the movie. We want to distribute it in the US. I was like, okay, cool. So they took that movie and they distributed in the US on different platforms. That's why today it's online available for people to see because they made a deal with that platform. So that kind of was the moment where I'm like, oh wait, no, I can actually show the movie. I can make it make sense to start at it again. So to answer your question, I've been to festival a bit, but I've never actually been in a room where I pitch a movie. What I'm doing now, it's I'm doing a dedicated page on my website where I explain briefly in a very creative way what the movie is about, the budget I'm looking for, the investment I'm looking for. Once that is done, which is a week from now, maybe two, then I'm going to blast it to a lot of producers because my thinking is I need a co-production. I need another production company. I can't do it by myself. This is another level. This is a step up as well. Talking about kids now, it's the same for movies. I need another production company with me. I need another producer, someone who's done it, someone who's done feature film, potentially someone who work with Netflix or Amazon, extra, all of these platforms, streaming, Disney maybe. I need someone who comes in and says, look, I love the project. Let's together take it to the next step, which is not necessarily finding investors, but make the project ready. And right now, I'm working actively with my scriptwriter to improve that script. I know where the improvement needs to be. So that's where I am. So why do I need people to go to see the movie right now online? It's because I want to show people who potentially will invest. This is a story that interests people. There
mm,
is, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of people who watch the movie. That's why I'm promoting, that's why I'm here today, because I want to promote the movie. Because if a lot of people go to see it, I can use this as a hook to explain there is a potential for feature films. There is an interest for a feature film. Yes, the 27 Club is famous. Yes, music, movies about music, it's really rarely they bomb at the box
yeah.
office. It actually does well. Recently there was a movie about Amy Winehouse. Now there's Liam Payne and Matthew Perry. All of this, Liam Payne, I don't know why I say Liam Payne. Anyway, One Direction singer and Matthew Perry. All of this seems to me that the stars are aligned, that I need to go at it now. And financially, if I have to be honest, Labor, like it or not, they did one thing great for the film industry. They reintroduced that tax rebate. So if you're a first film producer of a feature film, you
Yeah.
get tax rebate. So all of the studios, all of the big names are interested in working with people who are going to do that tax rebate, because if they're involved, even if they made 5 movies, they can benefit from that tax rebate from that first time film producer. Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
the stars are aligned. I haven't tried as much as, but now I'm going to. And I'm giving myself a year to really push it like crazy and convince people this is. And I need people help, because if many people watch a movie, then I can say, look, there is an audience. That's all there is. If there is an audience, there is money to be made. If there is no money to be made, investors want to invest. It's business. I love to say it's
Mm.
creative and all of that, but it is a business.
Yeah, no, like this is the thing. Yeah. It's one of those things where the pool of so many sort of responsibilities and duties, like from like, yeah, like on the more important side, like family, friends, and then like, yeah, on the sort of like running your day to day life, yeah, your job and everything like this. To then like, yeah, your third child, this movie, keeping it all together, keeping that perspective. Now you like you say the stars have
I've said
aligned.
so much. Sorry, you're trying to
Yeah.
remember everything I said.
You say the stars have aligned and bring you to this point. Like,
Yeah.
and you're like you've sort of given yourself a year to
I
two
mean,
years
yeah, I
here.
don't have limit, but yeah.
But like this is the thing. Like if I came back to you in 5 years' time and yeah, you've like polished the script up a little bit more and everything like this, but you're not quite where you expected to be. Is it? But there was another film which, like, someone came to you and went, "You should do this in the interim." Would you like put Forever 27 on the shelf to like maybe pursue something which could happen a lot quicker?
So I made a decision last year, and I
Right?
said it to my wife. I made the decision not to pursue a career in the film industry as a full-time job. And the reason I made that call is because I spent the last few years to speak with a lot of film producers, people
Mm,
who actually made feature film, people who have managed to sell movie to Netflix.
yeah.
And so many of them are still struggling today financially. And they're still, despite that success, when
Mm,
they go back at a new movie, they start from scratch. And I didn't think it was going to be like that. I thought once you make a movie, it's easier to make a second one, a third one, to make a not from what I've seen, film
mm,
producers start from scratch every single new project. They have to find the funds again. They have to struggle for that again. And I'm 42 years old, soon 43. This is not a career really for me. So my thinking is slightly different. If it takes me 5 years to make
mm,
Forever 27, so be it. That's fine. There would be a point that I would give up. It depends on the reason. Why is it 5 years? It's because there is someone interested, but it's never the right time, or you can't find people interested. Because if you can't find people interested at all
mhm.
within 18 months, I don't think the project is commercially viable. That might be me giving up, but I don't think so. I think at some point you have to be realistic. The dream now is a bit different. I want to be on my deathbed or, old and content and retired and thinking, you know what? I made a movie who was shown in a cinema worldwide. Just one.
Yeah.
That's it. Dream done. I don't
Mhm.
care if I have money. I don't care if I can live from it. The idea that I've done it, that's what I want.
All
Right?
right.
But saying that, it's interesting what you said, because recently all of this creativity bounced back, re-emerged inside myself, and now I'm kind of developing a new project. Just because I want to see what it is. Let's try another thing. So this time I want to do an animation film because I've never done that. So I've really at the beginning. I have the idea many years ago, but I'm just meeting. I met last week with a scriptwriter. But again, I know I'm like, why are you launching yourself? But the rule is with my wife. There is a strict rule here. I am not spending money anymore. Not
Okay.
my money. No, never again. If they,
Yeah.
but there's people interested, I do it. If there's no people interested, then I don't do it. I just spend time. That's it. No, no making movies with my camera and videos on YouTube. She's like, I don't want this anymore. I'm just focusing on. I do project. I push it to the right people. I pitched basically. I spend my time pitching because that's fun. That's my job anyway. I'm in sales, but that's it. So yeah, I don't know if that answer your question, but that's where I stand now. That's where I feel is the goal.
No, no, it's a good like it's a good goal. I would say it's one of those things. It's it's going to be a challenge, to say the least,
Yeah,
and it'll be a very interesting sort of journey which you're going to be on because, like, as much as you like say 5 years, I'm like, unfortunately, yeah, the bug's got you again, and I don't think the bug's going to let you go.
maybe.
So it's like you say it's
But
been
at some point, that bug needs to bring. I don't want to bring everything back to money, but it is important. Come on.
well, like, look,
I
I
can't
think,
just do something like that. Like the financial stability that I have with my job, which is amazing by the way. It's flexible. My new job since him I've had two, but the one I have now it's flexible. My
mm,
boss let me do whatever I want almost as long as I bring the money and I do. So it's so much easier. I can do so many things. But the money is there, and I can't live without money. I just not the money I'm used to have. I need to keep that. So if at some point I've managed, that's always the challenge. By the way, everybody who's trying to make something else in their lives, that's where they reach that point. The point where you have your full-time job that gives you the money, but you're
mhm,
not quite there yet with your side job to give you enough money, and
yeah,
you have to make a call. Am I dropping this and I'm 100% on that,
yep,
or I carry on? Because there is a moment it's really hard to do two things at once.
mm,
My thinking is I will carry on as much as I can. And if at some point I can see that this side becomes actually, wait a minute, I made £1 million, um, that's a different story. It's just, we'll see. I don't, but I'm not actively pursuing this as a career anymore. That's the difference. If it happens, great, but I'm not putting my bet on that, if that makes sense.
no, I hear you, I hear you. Which, it's gonna be like it's always a
No.
tough one. It's always a tough one. But like, you know what? I have to ask this. Like, sort of straying away from like, yes, your movie and everything like this. What was your favorite movie? Like growing up as a kid.
Mm.
Why? What inspired you about it?
I've always found it difficult to answer that question because how can you compare a comedy, as good as it is, with a drama? Or how can you compare war movie with a thriller? I can tell you my favorite in each style. Comparing them, I find it difficult. So, if you allow me, I will prefer to tell you my favorite in each style. Uh, as a comedy, um, it's French, oh, but to me, it's called La Grande Vadrouille. It's a French movie, and it's the most famous movie in the world. It's old. It's probably from 60s or 70s,
Yeah,
but it's absolutely brilliant. As a romantic comedy, because nobody knows it, I'm not going to explain too much why is it good. As a romantic comedy, The Notebook. For
ah,
me, The Notebook, everything when it's about romance or whatever, The Notebook. Because it's simple actually. The love stories told there, the love story told in that movie is the most amazing love story ever. So it's not about the acting. I mean, yes, they're amazing. Don't get me wrong, Rachel McAdams, and they're good. The acting, the dialogues are really good. But it's a love story of the middle of it that I found so cool. Like these two old person who I don't want to spoil it for anyone who haven't seen it, but who have to revisit this because she's has Alzheimer, or like revisit their own story through a book. I mean, it's just brilliant. The concept, the story behind it is just brilliant. So for me, that's a notebook. And for a war movie, I would say Braveheart because it's just it's epic. It's in your face. Like every single thing is just pow. And yet the underlying story between William Wallace's first love and the rediscovering, which is not history true, by the way, but it doesn't matter. Rediscovering love with a second person, I found that really fascinating, and I found that really, really cool. And yeah, he did it well. I know a lot of people criticize Mel Gibson for his accent. Having spent 4 years in Scotland, I agree, but it's just still an amazing movie. I still love it. And to finish on the different category, a thriller, I will choose Usual Suspect because, well, first of all, because Kevin Spacey, whatever happened to him as an actor, you cannot deny he's bloody brilliant. But his performance in that movie is amazing, and the the surprise element of it, you will no one, I don't think anyone could see that coming. And being surprised by a story for me is very, very important. So yeah, what is yours?
Now, like this is the thing. My all-time favorite film is Goodfellas. Like basically, like yeah, basically the way the period of time it was set, the music, like this, like the story narration, and the way it just flowed, the stylization of it all. It like it's just again and again, and this ensemble cast, like Ray Liotta, like that was one of his like all-time best films. It was
Mm,
like it was just he reached the mountaintop. Unfortunately, there was not another mountaintop he could go. Like it seemed like there was nothing else he can do to get to it. It was just like,
mm,
yeah, what else can you do? But the way it dropped, everything like that, it was like, yes, chef's kiss of a film. So that for me is like yeah, one of the all-time.
yeah.
And like with regards to like hey Kevin Spacey, he still with all the controversy he's had and everything like this, he was my favorite actor back in the day because I used to work in a cinema called the UCI, and like
Mhm,
they'll let staff watch films, and the two films which they had staff showings of, they had Seven and basically the usual suspects. And like we watched the usual suspects first. I was like, going, oh, that was amazing. Then we watched
mm,
Seven. I was like, oh my God, that was so disturbing. That was,
yeah.
I was like, oh my God. Just like, yeah, I just walked out of the cinema going, oh my God, oh my God. And like,
See, that's the kind of movie I would have loved to see in a cinema. I think I didn't, and I think that the kind of movie where, because some people think that you go to the cinema to see like big, badass, epic movies like the Marvel and stuff because it's in your face. Seven is not really in your face, but that discomfort that he did in his movie,
oh,
if you watch it in a cinema, your discomfort is multiplied by I don't know 100. So I wish I would have seen it in a
look,
cinema. I have to say.
look, a great film in a cinema with like surrounded by people, it just amplifies it to the next level.
Yeah.
And you like, oh wow, that's amazing. Now, look, for example, like, and you mentioned Marvel briefly, Avengers Endgame, right?
Hmm.
Watching that, they should have shown that film in a stadium because I mean, it like basically when Captain America's standing there by himself, like
And then
looking at the army,
yeah, that's a cool
like
moment.
and he just pulls the shield and goes, ah. And then, as you said, and like on your left, and it starts opening. A cinema was packed, and it literally erupted. You could feel it shake. And I was like, "Yeah, I've said it before. If there was a portal which opened in front of the cinema, like you would have had everyone just get up, run in, and just like join the fray. It's
Yeah.
like that type of vibe." And another time, I remember,
Well,
like
on the same movie, though, I'm pretty sure the reaction from the public was bigger for when he picks up
Thor's hammer,
Hammer.
yeah. Oh
I
yeah,
think that moment where people were like,
like there was lots of moments where it was like, "Oh my god, lose my mind!" Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
and like this is the thing. And when you saw one of the portals open up, and Chadwick Boseman came out, and everyone was just, it was just like, yeah, because his character was so pivotal, like from
yeah,
Captain America, the Winter Soldier, uh,
yeah.
to like yeah, like
Civil War, I think as well.
Yeah, Black Panther, and then to basically like their first Avengers film, like it was just like, yeah, it was such a nice touch to it. And every time I see that clip now after his like tragic passing, it's sort of like one of those things which sort of like still tugs at the heartstrings
Mm.
with regards to that. I remember like sort of like going back, showing my age, Batman 1989, and like they're like in a like crowded cinema, kids everywhere, and then like the bat planes flying through, and it goes up into the sky and stops in front of the moon to make the bat signal.
Ah, yes, I remember that.
Whole cinema just went lost its mind. I'm like going, yeah, these are some.
You know, the first movie I've seen in a cinema, I think, thinking about it, it was an interesting choice. But we were supposed, me and my brother, we were supposed to go to see Teenage, what's it called again? Teenage
Mutant Ninja.
Mutant. Yeah, that one.
Yeah,
Three, by the way, number three. So already, it's kind of for kids, you know. We were supposed to see that. And I think, I might be wrong, but I think that's the story. And it was sold out, no tickets. So my brother, who was older than me, said, "Oh, what are we going to see?" And then there was Jurassic Park, and I don't know why, but we didn't know what it was. We didn't. We were like, "What's that?"
oh my
And he
god.
saw a dinosaur, and he said, "Oh, look, that's for kids. There is a dinosaur." So we went in, and I was a bit young for that movie. I'm pretty sure I was not the legal age, but that was my first experience of a film in a movie. And seeing Jurassic Park as your first experience of a film in a movie, I mean, well done, Spielberg. You know how to make movies for cinemas. You know, it's just wow. And from that moment, I was hooked. I was like, and
Mm,
sometimes I feel like it's a shame that I don't go as often. I personally don't go anymore as often to the cinema, especially with kids and stuff. But
yeah.
and I've got a great TV set here with a sound system, and I love watching at home on Netflix and Disney and all of that. But I think I'm making a mistake here. I think I should go back to the cinema because, as you said, when you're surrounded by people, the whatever the feelings the director tried to pass at that specific moment, it is going to be amplified, and it's a unique experience.
Yeah.
Which is why I said, by the way, my dream is not to be on Netflix or Amazon. It's not. It's to be in a cinema just once, like in France, in the UK, in the US, in China, in India. It doesn't matter where, but a lot of cinemas in a lot of countries.
Mhm.
That is amazing.
Uh, this is the thing. What does strike like does surprise me? You haven't kind of looked at doing this project in France, like basically like just switch it up in the French language. Because look, if there is a top five film industry in the world which like churns out really good films, it's France. You
Yeah,
know? Uh,
I just don't like the way they make movies in France. Sometimes there is some good commercial hits, but most of the time I don't like the French movies. The
right.
classic, people say, "Oh my god, it's amazing. Have you seen that classic?" And I'm watching it, and I'm like, "It's boring." I find French movies boring. But you make a good point. I should look more at the French market because of my language and my. But to
Mm,
be fair, I have more connection and knowledge and experience here than in France. France is. I haven't been in 20 years. I mean, but I haven't lived in 20 years, so
yeah, yeah.
it doesn't feel like it's. I've been here for too long now. Do you know what I
Uh,
mean? Yeah.
yeah. No, no.
But to be fair, I do have another idea for a TV series, and that one should be in French because that will only work in the French market. So, maybe that's a project that one day will. Because I've got maybe 20 potential projects, by the way. I've got so many of them. It's just some of them I feel like they're less commercially viable, or I think I need a bit of a name before I start putting the project out a bit more quirky or whatever.
Like, I would say, like, you know what, like, with regards to like making a name, you make your name and you build your reputation from like the actions you take, the things you do, rather
Yeah,
than sort of just like, look, don't get me wrong, like, yeah, I'm not saying do 200 projects and like, you know what I mean. So you're like putting the water, like passing water very finely, but like if you like, oh yeah, I've got forever like forever 27, I've got this TV show, like I've got and then maybe one other thing, just so you know what I mean. You're getting into the rooms where it happens a little bit more,
that's
rather
true.
than sort of like, okay, I've got all my money on double zero, and let the roulette wheel spin, and
No,
hundred
yeah, it's
percent
true.
come out. So like,
That's
yeah,
what they say. Everybody who works in the film industry says you need to have more than one project at once because there is always a moment when a project is stuck
mm,
and you have to wait months before it starts again. So if you have only one, you're just stuck. So that's why you need loads. So then, so yeah, maybe I should do more. I don't know.
Well, like talking about one project, like Mersha Ali, right? Like
Who?
Mersha Ali, the Green Book. Um,
Ah, yes, sorry, sorry.
yeah,
Yes, oh, I love this
now,
actor.
yeah, he like going back to the sort of Marvel realm. He was going to be the next Blade. Uh, in the like for the film, they announced
Okay.
the project in 2019, right?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Blade, but it's taking a long time. Yeah.
It it went, they announced it, they got the script writer, they got the director, and then they had to, I don't know what happened, then it stalled, and then they got a new director, they got a new script writer, back and forth, back and forth. If I just do the measurement just purely on my life, like, look, I moved back to London in 2019. Like, yeah, started working at EMAP in 2019. Like, yeah, 2020 came along, made like a permanent member of staff. Like, yeah, COVID happened, put on furlough like yourself. Like, yeah, left, lady, like 21, 21. Like, yes, pregnant. Baby came into the world 2022. Yeah, I've had kids. I've had a kid. I've like yeah gone back to EMAP. I've done several hundred episodes
Yeah.
of
How
my
many episodes
podcast.
meanwhile? Yeah.
Yeah,
And they're
several
not moving.
hundred
Yeah.
episodes, and yet
From
they've cancelled it for next year. So it's one of those things
Yeah.
where
So
even when you've
from
got a
what
big,
I've read about that, and you're right, like sometimes you wonder why does it take so long?
oh
But
yeah,
from what I read about Blade, it's a rights issue, and so often that's the case. But also, when you work with the studios, they have a plan,
mm,
and if you release a movie at the same time as they plan something similar, they don't want that because they don't want to take the risk of having the audience split between two projects. So that's their logic. I don't know if it's good or not, but that's their logic. So when they have a plan, they plan 2 to 3 years in advance.
uh,
They know when they're going to release movies. They don't want another movie to come in at the same time. So maybe Blade got delayed for any reason. And when he went back on track, they were like, oh, no, no, we can't have Blade now because we're planning this and we're planning that. And so that's what it is sometimes. It's just schedule. It's a bit
yeah.
of a shame, but that's how it is. Yeah.
It is crappy to say the least. But
I
like
know. I'm
like
not
my
really into Blade. I'm not excited to see the new Blade movie, but
well, yeah, all I got to say is like, yeah, when you have the opportunity, watch Deadpool, Wolverine.
I
Uh
haven't seen it.
no, like watch it. It comes out on on Disney Plus on the 15th of November. Like, yeah,
All
when
right.
the kids go to sleep, put it on, watch it.
I've seen so many extract now. I'm a bit disappointed because I'm like,
Oh,
oh, I know so much. I see this moment with Chris Evans and this moment with
I think I think
Superman.
they
I forgot his name,
I
Kevin.
think
So yeah, it's a shame that I've seen so many extracts there and there because then it kind of breaks the movie. You know what I mean?
I think there'll be more like things to come. But yeah. Like
Okay,
final question before we have
sure.
to go. Now, if there was anyone you could sit down with in the movie industry, be that a director, producer, actor, like alive today, passed away, or like, yeah, who would that be?
Do you mean someone to help me with that current project, or just in general someone I would love to have a chat with?
Just love to have a chat with.
Ah, it's funny. I never asked myself this question. Um,
That's why I'm here.
yeah. So many names popping in my head, but I need to find the one that makes a lot of sense. I think it's going to be a bit of a cliche, but I think Steven Spielberg, because of everything he's done for the past 20 or 30 years, maybe more now, and still being relevant today, it's not the young Steven Spielberg, the today Steven Spielberg. Because I want to know, basically, that's mainly the conversation I would like to have with him is it still a struggle to get a project out when you're Steven Spielberg, probably one of the biggest names in the industry? How does it work when you're at that stage and you're starting to be a certain age? Without saying what it is because I don't remember, but I know he's a certain age and he's still making movies. Why? Why you don't want to retire? Why is there a moment where you just whatever?
Mm.
Because you have the money, you have everything. What is it? Is there a bug that when you're Steven Spielberg, you can't shake it? And then I'm worried because then, fuck, if I have this bug, what we talked about before, maybe I will never be able to give up. I will always want to do movies and storytellings and all of that. So yeah, that's the kind I would love to have, of conversation I would like to have, and the person I would like to have it with. I think so. Yeah, Steven Spielberg.
Steven Spielberg.
But
Outstanding.
you thought about that question, which means you probably thought about it for yourself. Is there someone in the film industry, dead or alive, that you would like to have a chat with, and why?
Now, it depends. Okay. Hmm. Honestly, when it comes to like something like that, it comes down to what type of impact it come like I want to see. Because I would love to like speak to the team which like came up with the Shawshank Redemption, just out of
Mm.
like
That
because
was a really small budget, became huge thing
oh,
kind of story. I love
yeah,
that. Yeah.
because like from like the whole sort of they looked at the book, they took it, and they took artistic liberties. Like because okay, the character Red was meant to be like if you read the book, he's like an Irish guy with red hair. Like
Okay.
so, like for them to like go, yes, Morgan Freeman, and like I can't imagine that film being
And
without
someone
him.
else. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
to like go right, yeah, to like do the settings, do everything like that. What like bringing it all together, like a small, like a great ensemble cast, and making it happen. Like yeah, like just to talk about that for that period, like that'll be in this. This is how I'm thinking in this moment because
Mm.
yeah, something which is it was like small, didn't seem to be anything significant, but when it came out, it punched way beyond its weight, and now it stands at the top of like IMDb as the best film of all time. So you know what I
Is
mean?
it? How do you know that? It's interesting because you show something that reflects in on why you're doing this podcast. Let's face it. If you're doing podcasts, there could be a lot of reasons, but my guess will be that you enjoy talking to people, which means you enjoy understanding what goes in their mind, like what they feel, what they think. That's why you like talking to people. And I know you're someone who really into understanding what people think about. So your choice of who you will approach in a film industry to chat with is
Yeah.
based on that. You want to understand why they did this the way they did it. You
Yes.
want to understand what happened behind the scene. What was their thinking?
Yes.
So it's exactly why you do this podcast. I think. I mean, tell me again. It's an assumption, but so that I find it interesting because it matched really well what you're interested in. You know.
Yeah, like it does with with my small but humble podcast. Like, hey, it's a case of it gives me the ability to still learn and grow. I recently hit 5 decades on this planet, and like you know, what I mean,
No way. You don't look. Oh my god. You don't look like that at
I
all.
like, but the whole thing is like as time goes by, you get a lot like you start to get set in your ways because that's the way of the world because you're not meeting new people because you're not having new like fresh conversations when you have all of these new conversations it's generally when you're in your teenage years into your 20s and then as each decade goes on that happens less and less because you're not out as much because your friendship group doesn't go out as much they're living life they've got families they've got kids and they can't really do all of those things if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
But the conversation is still, like those conversations still are out there, and I still want to have them. I still want to learn. I still want to grow as a person. Like the time I want to, like the time when I'm going to stop growing as a person, like yeah, God willing, is the time when I shuffle off this mortal coil, like in about 200 years' time.
All right. Cool.
Yeah, but yeah, but until then, it's like, yeah, this is where I'm gonna go. And like with regard to the podcast, yes, I won't lie. This year has been tiring because of other circuit like things going on. with like yeah, fatherhood and life and everything like that. But it's not like I will be doing this podcast 10 years from now. I can make millions of pounds or nothing at all, but I'd still be making this podcast because I still gain value from it. And I
I
think it is
appreciate
value
that.
to others.
Cool.
Yeah.
And you need that. You know, in your life, you said it at the beginning of the podcast, but you need to have, yes, value. You need to have something that makes sense to you in
Mm,
your life, whatever it is. If it's family and kids, that's great. That's family and kids. But if it's not that, or if that's not enough, then you always need something that brings value to your life. And
mm,
that's such an important thing. There was this quote from Steve Jobs, but it's so right. Like I think it's Steve Jobs. You know, do what you like, and you will never work a day in your life. Something like that. Again, I'm paraphrasing like you before, but and I think that's so relevant. Um, you know, we do things because we have to sometimes for money, for there is a
yeah.
financial world around us. That means we have to pay the bill, we have to do this, and not everybody can afford to not do a job that brings money. But there are people, and I've met some, who still feel fulfilled and yet struggling with money, not being financially stable. They don't care because they do what they love and it's important to them. Could be
Mm,
about, creative jobs, but there's also like carers or, NHS or not everybody earns a lot of money in these places and they still do it. And I'm still impressed by that.
mm.
But I think that's what it is. It's you have to find a purpose.
Yeah. And like this thing, it circles back to what I said earlier in our conversation. That people put like the emphasis on like the whole big shiny, this is what you should do to get success.
Yeah.
And like when people do that, yeah, they don't like if that's not what they're truly about, if that's not what their authentic like realm is, they will never feel fulfilled. And no matter how much wealth or success is given to them, like they will be taken out by the tidal wave because that's the way it is. And like people who do find like whatever it is that fulfills them, gives them purpose, like yeah, it will like they will thrive, even though it might not be financially. They might not be the most successful like people in X, Y, and Z, whatever that might be.
Yeah.
They will be so much richer personally than 95% of the people they meet, to be absolutely honest. And you know what I mean? Like one of the things like I'm I'm working through this, but like yeah, like when it comes to men and ladies, like ladies need to be loved, men need to be needed. And
Yeah.
if you don't have that on either side, it, both of those things give purpose to people. And if you don't have that going on, either being loved or needed, you find like these are the people who are often lost in this world.
Yeah. I think that. Yeah. Brilliant. Love that.
Right? Like, I have no more questions, and like, it's, like
That's cool.
like yeah, but like JP, like it has been a pleasure, honor having you on the podcast today. It has been
Same.
far too long. We talked about this like, time and time again,
I
but yeah,
know.
I'm glad you're here right now. But yeah, can you let the people know how they can find your short film out there?
Sure, yeah. So it's I'm trying to find how it's spelled again. It's called Fossum TV. So maybe I don't pronounce it very well, but it's FAWESOME but you also have an app. And anyway, you go on there and then you click search and you click or you type 427 in 2 words, and that's it. And you're going to see because it's a lady, all green poster. It's really standing out. So yeah, that's how you can watch it and share it, show it to your friends, explain why it's important that so many people sees it, and stay tuned because you never know. We might do something about this in the near future.
I look forward to it. I will put all the information into the show notes, into the description. So yeah, please, my friends, my life warriors, go out there, watch the film. It's online. It's free to watch. It's easy to do. So show a little bit of support to JP so he can
Thank you.
make great things happen. But let me just say this to you, my friends, my life warriors. Thank you for sticking with us all the way to the end of the podcast. Please stay well, stay safe, be awesome, be excellent, be fantastic. See, I'm all tongue tied. Be all the positive bees you could be in this world and then some. Have a great day, guys. Have a great day. Peace.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. And we are